Hello everyone, welcome to Sir Psych, and today we're going to be talking about the most important thing I think an INTJ can develop if they want to more easily communicate with other people. And this is something that Briggs talks about in her book, Gift Differing. So I'm kind of excited to share all this with you because I think it's something that's severely underrated when it comes to INTJ growth and development. Before we get into the video though, I do want to briefly announce that just yesterday, I launched my first paid e-course called MBTI Zero to Proficient on my website, asurapsych.com. It's an online course designed to bring someone with little or no MBTI knowledge to a level of proficiency where they can talk about functions, understand function stacks, understand how types work, just these sorts of things. It's designed to help you understand what is source material and what is the core theory needed to be understood to get into MBTI. So if you're interested in learning more about that, go to my website, surasec.com. Maybe you want to show a family member who wants to get into MBTI. You'd like to show someone how they can learn the theory without having to just randomly find definitions online. Check it out. But other than that, let's get into the video. I'm excited to share with you this tip for INTJ growth. The INTJ would do well to make an effort to use their critical thinking style on their impersonal problems and on themselves, and to work for some development of appreciation they need not call it feeling to use on others. This is from Gifts Differing, the chapter on the INTJ and the introverted intuitive types. Now, this is something that I think is critically important for the INTJ to develop if they want to be able to more easily get along with others. It's actually something that I think all of the TJ types are going to need to develop at some point. But for the INTJ in particular, developing this is going to be extremely important because of their usually fiercely independent style of working that can lead them to not have positive feelings towards others' efforts. So the general concept is appreciation, and that INTJs can develop appreciation as a skill set or as something that they can think about when interacting with others, and it's going to hugely boost the ease of communication that they have with other people. So why is it going to boost communication with other people? Why is appreciation kind of the secret weapon for INTJs? Well, INTJs, when it comes to feeling or interacting with others, they have introverted feeling in their function stack and extroverted thinking. Extroverted thinking is higher than introverted feeling, so they tend to have a very businessy style approach, so they can be quite critical of other people as well. And when it comes to sharing their emotions, their introverted feeling is tertiary, which is kind of the most private slot it can be in, even more so the ENTJs who have fourth slot introverted feeling. Because if an ENTJ gets stressed, you're going to see the FI come out. Whereas if an INTJ gets stressed, you're not going to really see the FI come out as much. So this leads to a type who's really, really private about what they're feeling and what they're experiencing in terms of their internal emotional atmosphere. So that means that most INTJs aren't going to feel exceptionally comfortable telling people how they feel about their efforts, what they're doing, how they feel about them doing certain things. And it's more going to be so that INTJs are going to have an easier time if they can learn to develop appreciation, or at the very least, how to tell others that they appreciate them and their efforts. The reason why appreciation is so important for INTJs is that it kind of serves the same purpose as feeling if you can present it correctly, but it doesn't feel like you're expressing a feeling in the same way. Imagine this, you've got a worker at a store and then you've got their manager, and say the manager's a TJ type and the worker's like a feeling type. And that worker type, they're working as hard as they can, they're doing everything they can to get their work done, but the TJ type never tells them, good job, or, I appreciate what you did, these sorts of things. They're always just kind of walking by and being like, hey, oh, that's good, but, could you do this better? Do this better? Do this better? That's the kind of mindset that TJ types can get into if they're not careful. And this can be really hard on especially the feeling types if they're communicating with them, and these feeling types aren't feeling like they're at least getting the bare minimum of their human needs met. And that's going to be the big thing to remember, is that you kind of at least want to give people the minimum. If you can't give them what they're searching for, at least, throw them a bone. So with a lot of these feeling types, but also some thinking types as well, they're going to want that kind of connection with the other person, whether it be in personal life or in a business life, these sorts of things. And the way that the INTJ can kind of give this to other people is by developing an appreciation for these people and showing that appreciation more often. And you'll notice that in the passage that I read earlier, Briggs said, they need not call it feeling, because she was essentially saying it's pretty much like feeling. It's an expression of like a value judgment towards someone, but it's expressed in a way that comes off as feeling but doesn't kind of come from the feeling place. So the INTJ is going to have a much easier time presenting their thoughts in this style. And when you make these types feel appreciated, these types who may not be the INTJ, for example, the feeling types particularly, they're usually going to at least feel their bare minimum needs met, and you're going to be able to have a much easier time communicating with them. I always say, I'm married to an ENFJ, and one of the best things that I can do in my relationship, if I can tell that she needs some sort of emotional comfort, is I can tell her that I appreciate what she's doing for me, or that she supports me in my goals, these sorts of things. And even though it doesn't come off as a direct emotional statement, it builds the connection between myself and her. And that's what you can do with appreciation as an INTJ, is you can build this kind of pseudo-emotional bond with people that allows you to have a meaningful relationship that's going to be satisfying for them as well. And it's not just going to be completely one-sided towards you. You can kind of give them their basic human needs while also not feeling like you have to be inauthentic to your introverted feeling. Because that's going to be one of the big things for INTJs, is with introverted feeling in that private slot, not only are they not going to want to share introverted feeling, but if they have to say something that genuinely feels inauthentic to them, it's going to be very difficult. But the great thing about appreciation is you can generally find at least something to appreciate in someone that you're working with, assuming it's not someone you like hate or something. If you're working with an employee or working with someone near you and they do something and they complete their task in a way that is satisfactory, tell them that. Be like, hey, good job. You really did that thing great. Or if somebody does something that you thought was nice, or they helped you out or something, just tell them, hey, I really appreciate the fact that you did that. Verbalizing appreciation is a big thing, because a lot of the times INTJs can just think appreciation, or maybe we feel it inside and we're like, oh, I appreciate that, but I'm not going to tell them. But if you can verbalize it and give it to the other person, you're really going to find that a lot of the time that can be very meaningful to them. It can be something that they really appreciate, ironically, in return. So learn to express appreciation to other people if you are an INTJ, and see how far that's going to take you in your communication. It is critically important, though, if you're going to be giving appreciation to another person, for it to come from a place of authenticity. And why am I saying this? Because you can easily notice when someone is just trying to appreciate you without actually meaning it. And what do I mean by that? Have you ever seen like the posts online where people share gifts they got from their boss, and it's like a tiny little letter that's like, we appreciate you for working with us, and the person goes, oh, that's nice, but it would have been even nicer if there was a gift card in here, or there would have been even nicer if like they actually appreciated what we were doing, instead of just writing down that we appreciate you and giving it to every single employee without it being personal at all. That's the same type of thing that other people are going to be able to kind of intuitively feel if you're giving them appreciation without genuinely feeling that appreciation, or at least, thinking the appreciation. If you're going to show appreciation, make sure it comes from a place of honesty. Even if it's a tiny spark, even if the person worked like 5% harder and you're just like, wow, you did better than yesterday, good job. Like, showing those types of little pieces of appreciation and encouragement are going to really build up any communication you have with another person. And this is tenfold if you want to be any sort of manager in your life. If you want to hold some sort of manager-like position, you need to learn to show appreciation. You have to be able to appreciate your employees, because if you don't, they're just going to quit and they're not going to feel appreciated and they're just going to leave. And that's how you get all of these like anti-work Reddits and stuff. These employees who don't know how to do the bare minimum needed to show appreciation to the people that work for them. But this is something that's going to matter in both personal life and business life. So if you're an INTJ, really think about this video. Really think about the idea of appreciation. How can you show appreciation to other people? How can you express appreciation through, like extroverted thinking without it coming off as like critical, or without turning it into some sort of critique of their work or their work style? Take that critique you were going to give to someone and try and frame it in a positive way. Instead, be like, okay, I know they messed up here and here, but what did they do good instead? Like, what is something that was positive about their work? How can I express that to them instead? Like, those are the positive types of things that you can bring to the table if you want to be either a manager or you want to build stable emotional relationships with other people. Even if you're in a relationship with a feeling type, as I mentioned, even just showing appreciation to a feeling type can make them feel respected. It can make them feel seen. It can make them feel loved. And it's important that you find out how you can express that to other people in a way that's not going to make you feel super inauthentic because you're like going against what your FI is truly feeling. And I think that appreciation is the sweet middle spot for giving other people what they need, but also feeling like you don't have to betray your own personal emotional state. So, if you're an INTJ out there, or any TJ really, think about this concept. Really reflect on this for a while, because this is one of those videos that I think is more important than some of the other videos I did. Now, I've talked about this concept years ago in some of my older videos, but I came back to it and I decided to dedicate an entire video to it because I think it's that important. I think it's critically important for INTJs to develop this skill if they want to become more mature, if they want to become more balanced, if they want to have more meaningful relationships with other people, if they want to become better managers. Develop that appreciation and remember that it doesn't need to come off as feeling. It doesn't need to come from a place of feeling. As Briggs said, they need not call it feeling, but it will allow you to have those more personable and close relationships with other people. Save your critical thinking if you can for yourself, because that's your strength as an INTJ. Your ability to analyze and critique things is going to be even better when you're pointing it at yourself so you can work on self-improvement. It's okay to help others and critique others in the outer environment, workplaces, even romantic partners, sometimes, especially if you think they really, really need the help. But don't allow that level of critiquing to get to a point where you're damaging the relationship instead of building it up. Because your TE should be used to build people, to construct things, to make things more efficient, not tear them down unless they, are at their absolute worst and they need to be torn down. But not everything's going to be like that, but cynical INTJs can certainly feel that way. Try to get out of that mindset. Try to develop appreciation for other people, and you'll see your skills as an INTJ grow tenfold. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comment section below what you think of the idea of appreciation. Is something that you have ever had as an INTJ for someone else? Is it something that you noticed that when you showed appreciation, they had an easier time talking with you? I would like to remind everybody one more time that I did just launch my new e-course, MBTI 0 to Proficient, on my website at surasec.com. And I also have personality typing sessions available, as well as one-on-one coaching at my website at surasec.com as well, if you're interested in working with me to find out what your personality type is and what that means for you. This has been Sarah from Surasec. Have a good one.